My only thing on the Purdy Lance thing is I don't understand people like if you're a Niner content creator, in my mind, now not everybody is this way because everybody's coming at it from a different perspective. But in my mind, you're probably a Niner fan or at least a Niner. You're interested in the franchise, and if you're really interested in the franchise, you want the team to win. And then, like when we're talking about these quarterbacks, to me, the one thing that is unspoken is that what we're really talking about is how to win. So once you have a quarterback in there that's doing nothing but win, I don't understand people that who then suddenly, I mean, they were Niner quarterbacks not named Jimmy Garoppolo under Shanahan before Purdy were 9-29. They lost a ton. They were nowhere near 500. Now you've got Brock Purdy. He's never lost. And it's like, yeah, but I don't think it's good enough. You haven't lost. You're undefeated. I know, but I don't think he can do it when it matters. They're scoring 33 points a game. You know what I mean? I don't understand wanting something when the point is to win and you're winning. And now imagine how much pushback there would be on Brock Purdy as a quarterback if he was like, I don't know, 4-4 instead of 8-0. But he was 8-0. And they maybe would be more pushback if they scored like 15 a game, but they didn't. They scored 33 a game. So I don't understand we're winning. He's young. The players swear by him. He's obviously, doing a lot of things right because we haven't seen rookie quarterbacks do this. But you know what? It's not really enough for me. I don't just want to win. I want to win with this quarterback, with this particular quarterback. And I don't understand that. And I don't understand that thinking. And I don't understand those people. So I understand why anybody would like any quarterback. There's certain traits you like or whatever. But if a guy's having success to the level that Brock Purdy's having success, where they've not lost and they're scoring, the most points they've scored in years, I don't get it. I do not get it because my agenda is winning games and scoring points. That's what I want out of my quarterback. I want him to produce an offense that has points and to win games. And Brock Purdy's doing both those things. And there's still a lot of people who are like, it ain't enough, man. I need to win with Trey Lance. Well, what if you wind up going down the Trey Lance road and it doesn't, how long are you going to give it? You giving it a week? You giving it a month? You giving it a season? You giving it 2? You giving it 3? At what point will if Trey is not winning or the Niners are not winning with Trey, would you say, you know what? Maybe we should go back to Brock Purdy. I mean, I just think it's really, really, really hard to win in the NFL. And it's really hard to find a quarterback. And they have found one on a rookie deal, and they are winning games. And to me, I'm not the kind of person that would say, let's all just be happy, but I don't get it. I don't get we got to do it with Trey. No. How about this? We got to do it. And then let's worry about with who afterwards. I don't care who we win with, just that we win. But I can clearly see that there's lots of people in there in the Niner creation world that do not have that perspective. They need to win with the quarterback that they need to win with. And I don't understand that agenda. I don't understand any agenda outside of winning in pro sports.
So I've always said that as a fan, I have one job, right? If I'm a fan of a team, I have one job, Larry. That job is to root for the product on the field come game day, right? When the game's not being played, I can have all the opinions in the world. I can disagree with this. I can disagree with that, whatever. But once that game is being played, I've got to root for those players that are playing because they're wearing the uniform that I root for, right? So for years, I didn't think Jimmy Garoppolo was the guy. Now, he won too. I didn't think he was the guy. Got a lot of crap for, you're not a real fan. You're not that. Okay, I'm not a real fan. But my only job is to actually root on Sunday for the team that's playing. So guess what? When Jimmy Garoppolo played, even though he wasn't my choice, dude, I hung on the edge of my seat, game in and game out, die hard, rooting for this team. And when they lost, it ruined my weeks. Like up until Wednesday or Thursday, I was so frustrated and irritated and all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my job as a fan. So, but now that I'm on this side of things, I have a job to give it to you the way that I think. And so when those games are being played on Sunday, I root for Brock Purdy hard, right? I liked Brock Purdy coming out of there. And just as a person, like let's just throw the football stuff out of it. Brock Purdy and I have a lot of similarities when it comes down to our choice in the way that we like to live our life from a religious aspect. Okay. And so I have a lot of admiration for Brock Purdy and his willingness to step outside the box, represent his Lord and Savior, which is, I agree with. That's my Lord and Savior too. So, like, just on a personal level, I really resonate with Brock Purdy. However, I have a difference of opinion where, listen, I think Brock, and I've made a video on my channel, Mr. Right versus Mr. Right Now. I think Brock could be Mr. Right Now, meaning they will probably win more games with Brock Purdy this year than any other quarterback. But I don't necessarily think they win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. I don't think he will be enough. I don't know that Trey Lance will be enough either, by the way. He could be a complete dud. But I think he has the tool set to potentially be enough. So week 1 Trey Lance versus week 18 Trey Lance, two different guys in my mind, in the way that I envision Trey Lance developing potentially. So I want to see that potential before I'm willing to just throw it all away and say, you know what, bust, get out of here. Because I don't believe that Brock Purdy's skill set, even with this bevy of weapons, is enough. It's enough to win regular season games. It might be enough to get you to a Super Bowl in a week NFC. But gosh damn it, if they have to play Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, we're dead in the water. That's the way that I see it, right? But I still root for Brock Purdy every single Sunday. When that game's being played, man, there's nobody else to root for. He's the starter, so of course I'm rooting for him. That's my job as a fan. But when I get on here, my job is to have an opinion, and I have an opinion that does differ, but that is the reasoning why it differs.
I hear you, but I mean, like, do you think Jalen Hurts has enough skills to win a Super Bowl? Because to me, Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts are the same damn guy. It's the same guy. They're really, yeah, they're the same guy. They're both on the smaller side. They both are way more elusive than you think. Their deep ball kind of hangs. They're better arm guys. They're bigger statured players. But they win. And the guys in the room really believe in them. And they're athletic, and they're really, both these guys are way more than what they appear to be athletically. Like Jalen Hurts has got a real something to him. He's not just he's more, he plays bigger. He runs stronger because of how much power he has in his legs from lifting. Brock Purdy's,
he's also a lot thicker than Brock Purdy, I think. Like those two don't look like they have the same frame to me. I get what the weight says if I go on Wikipedia, but those dudes are not built the same.
Well, Brock Purdy, though, I'll say they call him Mini Bosa for his quads and legs. He carries a lot more weight in his lower half than he appears. But I hear what you're saying. But I mean, they're both guys that you can find taller guys. You can find bigger arms. And they're both the kind of guy that at first blush you would kind of sign off and be like, I didn't think much of Hurts initially, but the more he played, the more I realized the guy's a player. I didn't think a lot of Brock initially, but the more I watch him, the more I think the guy's a player. So all I'm saying is, yeah, I mean, Brock, I just don't know that the guy with the best arm wins the Super Bowl, or the
Oh, I
guy who
agree
can
with that.
throw it the longest, or the guy who
Agreed.
can lift the most, or the guy who had the best 40. Like, have you noticed that, like, when they talk quarterbacks, they don't sit there and go, this guy had the best 40 time. This guy had the best, because we all know at this juncture, it's about so much more than your 40 time.
For
So nobody
sure.
even really quotes it. Even the Wonderlic, when people will used to quote that, people know that that's just a test, and it's an indication of intellect, but it's by far, it's not the end all be all. So people note it and they move on. I just think that with these guys that don't quite fit the boxes of what the prototype is supposed to be in the NFL, we discount them. And the reality is that an old NFL scout, Jesse, told me, he said, you know what? He's like, the biggest trait for great quarterbacks is intellect. He's
I
like,
agree.
all of the best ones are super freaking smart. And that's what I think you're going to find with Purdy and Hurts. And what really separates them is how smart they are.
I
And,
agree.
and then you mix in, there's also, it's a combination, Jesse, of smarts, but it's also this like insane competitive thing that Brady has, that Montana had, that Breeze had, that I think that like I did the first interview with Brock, and buddy of mine who was filming it said, wow, what'd you think? And I'm like, dude, I love him that much more now because you can see the simmering competitor in him when you do the interview. He's like, he's not just a competitive guy. He's like simmering. He's like, I need to win. And that's a Jordan, Jeter, Brady, that's a Larry Bird. That's a very weird, that's a Draymond Green trait. There's not everybody yearns and burns to win. Some guys are there for the check. Some guys are there just because they're super athletic. You'd love them all to want to win and be passionate about it, but they're not like that all the time. Brock is like that. And I think the intellect and that desire makes up for a lot of the shortcomings. And at some point, I agree with you. You look at the skill set, and I look at the skill set too, but it really comes down to what we used to look for as scouts, which is find me the essence of the football player, and then we'll know who we're talking about. And that's really, where I think people missed on Purdy is that the essence of that kid is that, and you mentioned your faith. He's very grounded with a lot of faith, a lot of maturity. He's kind of an old soul. He's very mature, but he's an insane competitor. So, and I think that's the same thing with Hurts. Really smart, insanely competitive. And when those traits sometimes come in 6 feet, sometimes it comes in 6'5". In this case, it comes in 6'1", 227 or whatever he is. I understand people wanting, the higher end quarterback that can compete with Mahomes and Allen and the best, but man, I got to see some failure before I'm going to go off of Brock Purdy. I need to see him literally fail, lose games, throw picks, fail, before I'm going to sit there and go, no, I need to, yeah, they're winning. And yeah, but I need the other guy because I sense that the other guy's upside's greater.
I
I'm all
think
about upside. I'm all about upside, but to me, don't ignore the bird in hand for a little bit better upside.
if somebody can articulate it, I don't mind a difference of opinion. Give me an intelligent conversation. That's what you and I are having right now, okay? That's what I dig. Difference of opinion is fine. I think when I look at Trey Lance and when he was being drafted, the reason I fell in love with Trey Lance, the athletic big arm stuff was like 5 and 6 on the list. It was all the mental stuff that I loved about him. And I believe that's why the 49ers initially kind of fell in love with him as well. And that's what, when the media talked about him, nothing but like amazing things to say. Oh man, he's a very smart kid. You get in a room with him, you get him on a board, man, he really breaks down the game. He knows what he's talking about. Like Sam Darnold to me is almost everything that Trey Lance is physically, but he doesn't have it up here. That's why I don't believe in Sam Darnold. That's my opinion of Sam Darnold. So if I was comparing just this athletic marvel that I didn't think had it up here to Brock Purdy, that would be one thing. But I think Trey Lance not only has the physical tools that we definitely see, but I think he has all the mental makeup to be really good. He just needs the time to put it together. The Wonderlic is one thing, but that new S2 cognition test is a real thing right now. They've basically stated, hey, there is not a single quarterback in this league since we've been doing this test that has been elite and not tested elite on this test. Well, both Brock Purdy and Trey Lance were in the elite range on the test. They were both in the elite range. So we're not talking about really smart quarterback who's maybe not as gifted physically, but does have some athleticism that's sneaky versus dumb quarterback who has all the physical traits. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about smart quarterback, more physical traits than the other quarterback. Like that's the comparison that we have right now. We're not comparing Sam Darnold to Purdy. We're comparing a smart kid with the physical traits to Brock Purdy. That's the difference.